Hi there, my name is Megan Jackson. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 boys. They're 12, 10, and 5. I also am a working mom and I run 2 businesses from home. I look forward to sharing with you how I manage it all and give you some tips and encouragement. So let's get started.
So let's get talking about working and homeschooling, how we're going to make that all work. First, I'd like you to reframe your ideal vision of homeschooling and what that looks like. Then we're going to talk about how we're going to get it all done, how to manage it all. What about the kids, because we are still homeschooling, and I want to leave you with some encouragement along the way. So let's take a minute to reframe our ideal. Please remember that you are not just a homeschooler. You are not just a working parent. Your situation is unique, and so often we compare ourselves with others. We see what everyone else is doing and what we think we should be doing, and it creates a lot of extra stress and guilt and frustration along the way. Embrace what is special about your family. That's going to help you to be able to be way more creative and confident and excited about this homeschool journey. It is totally possible to work and homeschool at the same time, but you are not going to have a situation or a homeschool day that looks like your neighbor or your friend at co-op. Remember, you are modeling real life for your kids, and that's a huge lesson right there. When your children grow to be adults and they're trying to figure out how to manage that work-life balance, they've been living that every day of their lives. So think about, how are you showing your kids that it's doable? Are you always stressed? Because then they'll grow up to hate this situation. If you're always ignoring them, if you're always complaining or stressing, that's why I'm encouraging you to stop comparing yourself and to stop worrying, because you're showing your kids that, hey, it's okay to do things differently, that there's always a way to work around this. And remember your own limitations. You can't do it all, nor should you. You may want to open up your circle of support. Rely on other people. Outsource where you can. So grow your village, grow your tribe or your support system, but also drop things that just aren't working for you. Like I said, you don't have to do every subject every day. You don't have to go on every field trip to have a unique, wonderful experience. The more you can incorporate your children into your business world and tying that all together, that would be even better, because then they see the whole picture, and they might have some interesting things that they can offer and bring to the table. So how are you going to get it all done? And again, we aren't going to get it all done, but what you need to do is to figure out and determine the priorities and essentials for your family and your situation. Think about the bare minimum you would need to accomplish each day to feel like you had a handle on the day. Write down your absolute must-do items for your work, whether that's working in the home or working out of the home. What is it that's desperately required of you each day in terms of your time and actual tasks? What are the bare minimums you feel comfortable with for homeschooling, or that your state or province require of you? What is the bare minimum housework? Because don't forget, we're still homeschooling, and so we're in our homes, we have to eat, we have to clean. Write those bare minimum must-do activities down, because it's important to get down to the bare bones some days, different seasons of life, and that will help you to create a rhythm that works for your family. Now, a rhythm and a schedule are not the same thing. A rhythm is more of a general flow to the day. It allows for flexibility and for things that come up during the day. It's not tied to a schedule so that you feel that extra stress of having to be somewhere and get something done and always feeling like you're behind. There are times when you actually do have appointments and things, and that's totally okay. So let's look further at rhythm. First, you want to set in your main anchor points. For my family, it centers around meals because I have 3 growing boys. Nobody likes hangry kids. So we put our meal times down on the rhythm. You know, when you're creating and crafting a rhythm, you might want to put times in so you know what you're working with for your day, but knowing when those are going in. You may have set work times or appointment schedules or activities that you're going to. Put those in your calendar as well. Once you have those anchor points down, you're going to add in the flexible essentials, such as your homeschooling and your flexible work times, and then your cleaning, and then the nice to have items that you wish you could do, and put those in as well and see if you get to them. You may want to make a chart for the whole week so they can generally see the flow of the week. They would know that we have sports this day, we have co-op that day, Monday is our home day, Tuesday's the day that mommy goes out to work, just so they can clearly see and get used to that pattern during the week. You could also make one for each day of the week if that changes a lot. And you can also make rhythms and charts for set times of day. For example, if you have a bedtime routine, or if you have certain things you want your kids to remember when they're getting out the door. For my family, we were really struggling with getting out the door to our activities during the day. So we worked on creating a picture chart of what they needed to do in order to get out the door, what they needed to bring, and then they made a chart so that I was referring to the paper and the chart, not mommy always nagging. It was now the chart's fault. So we have our plan, we have our ideal rhythm written down, we know exactly what we need to get done during the week. When are we actually going to get our work done? That's a very good question. Some of you may be working out of the home, so that's a little more straightforward, but you still have other responsibilities during the day. So you might want to consider, when are you going to get those done? Getting up before your kids might be a good possibility, or staying up later once they're in bed. Try not to burn the candle at both ends, or you will burn out and you will be too exhausted to function or be useful at all. Make use of quiet times and naps. I was so sad when my youngest stopped napping, but we were using that time to focus our attention on our homeschooling so that we were able to do projects and messy things and work with smaller objects while the little one was sleeping. Right now, since they're all awake, I use their quiet time for my scheduled Zoom calls. Now I know when I can make appointments because I know that my children are occupied otherwise. And we'll talk more about what to do with that, how to keep them occupied in a minute. You could take turns with another adult in the house if you have any, because when my husband comes home, I know I can usually get a few extra minutes to myself. Weekends are my other big time. He's working on cool projects around the house. My boys are very much in there with his tools and poking around under the car whenever he's doing work. So I can get myself a little extra time. I encourage you to try to block some time with older siblings to play with younger ones. Now, you will personally need to be doing something flexible and not too in-depth during that time, because you really don't want to make your child be a caregiver. But certainly you can give them a few minutes to play with a sibling, read them a story. That gives you a chance to check emails, make a phone call, maybe even get some housework done. Little things like that. And it builds their relationship too. It helps them create a special bond with each other. Just like we need one-on-one time with our children, they need that time with each other as well to build those positive relationships. Babysitters and extended family are a huge source of relief. So if you can, like I said earlier, increase your support system, then that will help you know that your kids are cared for so you can get your work done. And they can also help you with driving back and forth to activities or taking them to homeschool activities that you can't if you're working during the day. I often have nannies and babysitters at the nature co-op that I run. Co-ops, activities, even daycare or school is an option too for your family. You can be as creative as you need to. When my youngest was about 3 years old, there was no way I was able to run 2 businesses and homeschool and have a 3-year-old around me all day long. Like, that just was not a possibility in my mind. So he went to daycare for several months. It didn't last all year, but while we did and we got ourselves used to the new plan, used to the new rhythm and schedule, it helped a lot. And I know some families who have a few kids in school and a few are at home. So whatever works for you. How are you going to manage this? Like, actually getting this all done and getting the work done. So let's take a look at a few things that come up and a lot of questions that people have. You're going to want to set up a place to work that is safe for the children or safe from the children. What I mean by that is that your kids want to be around you. And if you are working and you are not available to them, they are going to seek you out. So you want to make sure you've thought about your workspace. For my family, when they were really little, I would wear the baby and they would nap or they would be on me while I was working. You could have a play yard or a little area sectioned off with some little toys, special toys that they only play with in that room, so it's a little more unique and they don't see it all the time. They don't get bored. We have a drawer full of leftover office supplies, so when the kids come down, they can color, they can use the highlighter, the stapler, the hole punch. That gives me a little extra time to finish up what I'm doing in order to give them my attention. And when your kids do come into the office, turn away from the computer and give them that attention. They will continue to nag you if they don't have your full attention, and they can tell if you're still trying to type and talk at the same time. So give them that extra second of turning away from the computer, putting the phone down, and actually looking at them. Not only will it save you time because they will nag you even more otherwise, but it also deepens that relationship and lets them know that they are the priority in your life. And keeping your area safe from children. A lot of people put a poster or a sign on the door when they're in a meeting so that it's just a visual for everybody to know not to bother you during that time. And you may have a different sign or even open the door when you are open for that interaction with them and it's not as essential. Time blocking is amazing so that you don't feel you have to have the pressure to get it all done. You can time block so that you spread out your work during the week. And that will really, when you know I have this hour is when I do this task, it cuts down on the distractions, you're more focused, and you just want to get it all done. So you can time block for work and say, okay, these are the different tasks I have in my business. Let's see which days of the week I can focus more on, or what times of day I can focus more on one than the other. That way you're not carrying your whole to-do list in your head all the time or looking at your to-do list and being overwhelmed. But you can also time block for school and homeschooling and house chores as well. For our housework, I know that at least one day a week I'm going to get to each of the major cleaning areas of the house. So if I don't get to it one day, at least I know once a week it will get done. Also for homeschooling, time block means it might be that Monday is math and Friday is fine art Friday. Maybe I don't get to every single child every single day of the week, but they each have one day of the week where I spend a little extra time with them. That's okay, and that's encouraged. You have found a plan that works for you, and it really is amazing when you actually write things down and schedule them and plan them out. talking about planning, meal and food is really important to avoid hungry people nagging about snacks, always saying there's nothing to eat, and then you're coming up and down the stairs from your work area or you're coming home and everyone's starving. So plan out your meals. That'll help you with your grocery shopping. And also have snacks available and prepped. And you can get cute. There's lots of ideas on Pinterest where people have put a little basket for the day, and then their kids can only eat what's in the basket. You could pack lunches for your kids so that it's like they're going to school, but they just eat from their lunchbox when they get hungry. You might have a section of the fridge or a drawer in the pantry that is dedicated to snacks that are pre-portioned out that the kids can just help themselves to. You know your family better and what would work for your situation. But make sure that you're also taking care of yourself, feeding yourself, giving yourself water, because we often neglect to care for ourselves by the end of the day. And talking about meal prep, get your kids involved. Give them responsibilities to prep the snack for their siblings. Give them a day of the week that it's their job to make dinner. Even if they're really little, they can still pick the meal. That ensures that you have one meal a week that they actually like. And as they get older, they can start helping you prepare the food, learning how to cook. It expands their repertoire so you're not getting grilled cheese and pancakes every day. So then they're now learning how to make full meals and more interesting meals. Adjust your rhythm as needed and be flexible with how your day is going to flow. When you are working and homeschooling, then life is going to happen. Kids have tantrums at the most inconvenient times. Somebody gets sick. There's a co-op opportunity. There's a field trip. Whatever comes up, you're going to try. You need to have that flexible mindset. Because if you're just always rigid on, this is my plan, this is the schedule, this is what needs to get done, you lose that mindfulness, you lose that sense of fun and spontaneity. So being flexible doesn't just have to mean bad things are going to happen all the time. Certainly if you guys are having just a bad day, recognize that and just stop and do something fun or take a break for the day. But if you're feeling lighthearted or the weather's great, just adjust your plans and enjoy being with your kids, creating those great memories. Another reminder was to take time for training. Get used to your kids to the new plan. That might take some training or getting used to being dropped off somewhere or having another person come into the house and they, operate a little differently than you. If you are changing your schedule and you have quiet time, the first few days might not go as smoothly as you'd like. So take time for that training. Take time for them to model with them, especially if you're asking them to do a little more. You're going to need to do a task with them a few times before launching them off independently. And take time for connection. This is a huge one, especially if you are working from home. The idea in their mind that you're here in the house but you're not paying attention to me is really hard for them to grasp. And if you're out of the home, they're going to miss you. So connect with them before you leave or before you are not available to them. That fills their bucket, helps them remember that how much you love them, that need has been met, and they're less likely to interrupt and pester and bug you. And then when you come back together from that time apart, connect first before jumping into the next activity. You want to get down on their level, ask about their day, take an interest in what they've been doing before saying, okay, great, now let's hop in the car, let's go do this. Why didn't you get your chores done? Where's your schoolwork? Who wants to be greeted like that? Hi, yeah, nice to see you. I haven't seen you all day. Now you're jumping into the next thing. And that works for weekends too, or holidays. Just any time you are apart from your child, take a minute to get into their world and reconnect before jumping into the next item. So we've talked about how we're going to do it, when we're going to work, who's going to be doing what. And, we kind of need to remember that we're homeschooling too. So let's talk about the kids. Remember, this is your unique family. This is your unique plan, and you do not have to copy what everyone else has done. Get out of that workplace mindset and get out of that school setting mindset. You're going to mash the two together and get really creative here. Education does not have to fit into set school hours. Homeschooling does not take 8 hours a day. It only takes a few hours because you're not doing all those transitions. You don't have a whole class full of kids to deal with. So you can do that in the evenings. You can do that on the weekends. Your kids could actually be at public school and then come home and do really amazing things with you afterwards. I know a lot of families who do that too. Plan for some independent work or activities while you are working. And that, again, could be sent with the caregiver who's watching them, or they could do that independently on their own. I have found podcasts to be an incredible opportunity for them to learn, because there are so many amazing kids podcasts out there, scientific ones, adventurous. It's amazing. Like, I had a blog post that had like 30 different kids podcasts that my boys have started listening to. And audio stories are another great one for that. I find that open-ended activities keep your little ones busy a lot longer than those fixed ones. You may see busy bags and Pinterest boards. Totally depends on your child, but ones that only took 30 seconds to do. Clearly, I spent hours making all these cute little printables, and then they're done, and they want to know what's next. So for us, sensory bins, wooden blocks, Lego, even if you can work while they're playing outside or get outside with them with your laptop, just keeps them busy a little longer. And then for independent work, if you have done the lesson and you've done the teaching, then by all means give them the follow-up activity to do for that they should be able to at least start or attempt independently. Drawing and art is another good one that they can do on their own. Silent reading or reading independently is great as well. For your family to save time and effort, we personally love to group certain subjects together for the whole family. That creates a sense of community. We're all learning the same thing together, great memories together, but also, again, it saves time and guilt for me not having to do every subject every day for every child. We do unit studies, but you don't even have to. Things like art. Well, actually, any subject, really, you could do at the same time. But everybody's working on a different level of ability or even a different topic. So I had mentioned art. If they're all studying a different topic, they could all draw about their topic at the same time. And then you're only getting out the supplies once for everybody. When we were doing a unit study on medieval times, even my youngest, he was really excited because I found picture books that related to the topic that his older brothers were learning about. And then when they were doing projects, everyone was doing an independent project at the same time on different topics, but I was able to work with the youngest. He went online with me and we found pictures because it reminded him of a story we'd read or a video we all watched together. So you can do subjects together. And get the kids involved. Get the kids involved. I talked about getting them involved with meal planning and cooking. Get them doing some housework. It teaches life skills. It counts as chore time, and their contribution to the family gives them a sense of accomplishment and helps you out too, so you're not having to do everything. Get them involved with the homeschooling as well. We give our boys a lot of choice, a lot of open-ended options for certain topics and units that we're doing, and then it gives them a sense of accomplishment. And with work, my oldest is now doing a lot of video editing for me. He's actually co-leading some of the things that I do. And my middle son has taken an interest in what my husband does for his line of work. And now he is learning all sorts of electronics and mechanical things because he sees daddy doing the work at home. It's like a little apprentice. It's amazing. So get your kids involved with what you're doing. So I want to leave you with some encouragement. Remember, you are modeling and teaching valuable life skills in everything that you are doing. So don't feel guilty about having to work. Don't feel guilty about having to ask them to pitch in a little more than your friend down the street, because your kids are now going to be incredible, capable, wonderful adults. Your children are going to learn in spite of you. Whether that's learning that you are always stressed out and that you undervalue yourself, or whether it's learning to be curious and independent, and they're finding out some incredible things on these podcasts that they're listening to while you're working, and then they can come and teach you all about it. Ask them what they've been doing while you were apart. You'd be amazed at the incredible wealth of knowledge that they've picked up just by experimenting and playing. Remember, you don't have to do what others are doing, and your situation is not fixed. Adjust as necessary, depending on the season of the year, the time of life, the stage of life that you're going through, and the developmental abilities of your children. You can do this. I believe in you. Create those incredible memories together as a family. This is your time. This is your unique situation. May it be wonderful. May it be blessed.
Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this information was valuable, learning about how you can manage working at home and homeschooling. I'm Megan Jackson, and I look forward to connecting with you.